And take in mind, everybody's life is different. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's targeting is different. Okay, and that's what people need to really grasp and hold on to. You know, I mean, it's okay. Um, just like, well, I can't say just like everybody else, because everybody else, we don't, everyone doesn't share the same views and beliefs, right? But it goes back to facts, opinion, and truth, which would be your truth. Um, you got these holier than thou Christians coming on here who think they know what everybody is going through. Like, if you know anything about this program, you know, right, that everybody's targeting is not nowhere close to the same. I mean, we share similar experiences, people go through similar things, but you know, I don't understand how these people are coming on here with this closed, narrow minded, judgmental, and coming on here and saying these stupid things like, you know, telling somebody else what their targeting is. Like, who are you? Like, you can't sit here and tell me what my experience is. You've never met me. I've only met one TI so far in my life, and God bless her. I love her. But you can't sit here and tell anybody what their targeting is. You know, I think people need to reiterate where their mind state is in these videos. I know some people are coming off trying to help others. Some people are so easily influenced. You know, they see something, they hear a couple things that somebody says, and then automatically they're influenced. They want to do things and say things like, you know, because maybe it sounds cool or it sounds like the right thing to do. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can't tell the next person what they're going through or what their truth is, because my truth is not your truth. Your truth is not my truth. My truth is my truth. My story is my story. And when it comes to the facts, I want to know the facts. I'm not just gonna, you know, sweep things under the rug and, you know, say, okay, things is like this, things is a certain way. You know, you got a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, the targeting is it's 100% spiritual. It's just a spiritual battle. There's not the government isn't involved in their targeting. It's only demon spirits." And you know what, man? To some degree, if that's your truth, if that's your story, if that's your experience, that's your experience. You can't speak for the rest of the TIs all over the world who are really going through this, because this thing is all over the world, you know. And yes, governments are involved in it. You know, the governments, the CIA, the military. It's a this is a fact. These are facts, okay? And if you don't want to acknowledge that, if you want to just act like, okay, cool, don't acknowledge it, and that you know what, it might be your truth. It might be your truth that your targeting is just strictly spiritual, spiritual battle, right? Me personally, my opinion on that, I feel like everybody who was born on this earth is going through some type of spiritual battle. You know, Satan is real. Like, he comes to kill, steal, and destroy everything in people's lives, even the people who are, you know, who side with him and work with him. They think Satan is for him. No, he's not. you're gonna burn in hell right along with him at the end of this journey, you know. And so people want to say, okay, this targeting is 100% spiritual, and that there isn't any directed energy weapons, and people aren't gang stalking them, and it's all in their head, and it's a delusion. Well, you know what, man? Y'all need to chill out with that. Y'all need to really chill out with that, because for you to diagnose someone else's situation like you know them, you don't. You guys don't know me or any other TI who was going through this. And if your targeting is 100% spiritual, then so be it. You know, say that. Leave it there. Don't just come on here and start saying, oh, people are crazy and they're saying crazy things, because the facts are out there. You know, the facts are out there. You know, these are facts that, these things is happening on a governmental level. What do you guys think do you guys think that the government is put in place to help us? Do you think that the government is for us? Like, do you guys even know what the government is before you start talking crazy? Like, oh, it's only a spiritual, and you guys shouldn't watch those videos when they're talking about, this stuff. Like, like who? I'm okay, and that's okay. I can't go on because that is an opinion. If y'all feel like, oh, we shouldn't watch these videos, then that's your opinion. Cool. But me personally, I know I speak from my experience. I tell my story, and I have no doubt about what's going on. And the more I learn every day, things begin to make sense. I actually prayed. I actually went into prayer, deep prayer, and I'm gonna get into that right now. But in that moment when I broke, God revealed to me that the answers were right in front of me. All I had to do was search for the answers because I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to know why things was happening the way it was, And me personally, I understand how jaded and how many layers it is to this program that we go through. I understand it, and I learn more about it every day. But for people to come out and say, oh, if people are making videos about the technology or whatever, then they're not following Jesus and they're not on the path. Who are you? Like, who are you to judge someone by a video that they make on YouTube, right? That's judgmental spirit. Like, I don't understand these people. I really don't. Oh, if you make a video about this, that means you're not in alignment with God. I mean, I was watching these videos, mind you, the day after, like on a day after, I spent all day in fasting and prayer and in my Bible. I'm in my Bible. Y'all, you can't just go by what you see and watch somebody's video on YouTube and then well, people will do it, because they're just judgmental, and those are the, some people are like that. They think that, holier than thou and just calling people out on their sin. Like, that's not Christ-like. You know what I mean? Like, we're called to be the rock for those people, to pray for those people, to mentor to them people, to reach out to them and make sure they're okay. And you know what I mean? Not to hear and, oh, don't watch them and they don't know what they're talking about. They're talking crazy and such. You don't know. At the end of the day, you don't know. Okay? You have no clue what somebody else's targeting is. So I think people need to really just pump the brakes on that. And if your targeting is 100% spiritual, leave it there. Let it be there. And I don't honestly, I don't even believe that these 100% spiritual TIs are even targeted. You know what I mean? Everybody that's born on this earth is going through a spiritual battle. Everybody. But you know what? Everybody is not a targeted individual. And that's a fact. That's a fact. And for you to be talking about what other people are going through and what other people's targeting is, you are so far off from what's really happening. I think you need to just stay in your little bubble, right? And do some more prayer and ask God where you're going wrong with this situation. I mean, It's proven facts. Like it's all in it's the CIA, the FBI, the DOD, the military, all the way down to the police and the first responders, all the way down to your next door neighbors who are involved in this, all the way down to your spouses and your husbands and boyfriends and the people walking down the street. And this thing is, man, not one time have I ever said anything crazy like, oh, this can't be stopped or nothing. And one thing that I do agree with you, 100% spiritual, targeters or whatever, whoever you are, like I don't even know what to call y'all, man. Christ is definitely the answer. Christ is definitely the answer. And one thing that you guys need to really sit with is that you can't judge a person just based off of a YouTube clip that they make, because the same people who can make these videos and Christ and this and that, when they cut that camera off, they could be a totally different person. You don't know these people. You don't know. At the end of the day, you really don't. We are called to pray for people, not point the finger and criticize them and kick people when they're down. And oh, my targeting went away after a couple of weeks of this. Like, you know what I mean? Are you really targeted, bro? Like, do you even know about this program? Do you? Or do you care to know? I don't think people care to know. Like, people spread disinformation like STDs out here, and it's spreading fast and people are so easily influenced. And I don't even think that those people are real TIs. I don't think they're going through. I think they might be going through some things. They might be going through their spiritual battle, right? But I don't think these people are targeted. I don't think they're real TIs, And at the end of the day, just like I said in the beginning, you have truth, facts, and your opinions, and those three don't mix well. You know what I mean? And my truth is not your truth. And your truth is not my truth. And who are you to tell anybody what their targeting is and what they're not going through, or if they didn't get V2K, or if V2K is a real thing, or if it's just demonic, or whatever the case may be? That is your opinion. That is not a fact. Okay? And when it's time to get to the facts, people don't want to talk about that. People don't want to talk about the facts. They don't even want to go there. And it's cool. So share your truth. Share your truth. Talk your truth. I encourage that. Jesus Christ, yes, he is the answer. Everybody is not a preacher. Everybody's not going to come on here preaching or fronting, faking jacks like they're a preacher. I see a lot of people on here trying to do that. Everybody's not a preacher, but who are you to say, oh, this person isn't following God because of a video that might be exposing some facts that's factual about this program, about things that's really happening. Me personally, I want to know. Like, I want to know what's going on. I want to know why things happen the way it did. You know what I mean? And when I went to God in prayer, I had a moment where God revealed to me what I needed to do. That's not necessarily your truth. That's my truth. I love God, and I'll confess that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior all day, every day. So big shout out to all you. This is 100% spiritual, and people are not gang stalking you. It's all in your head. Come on, maybe that's your truth, but you can't sit here and tell me about me or anybody else. You can't tell people what their targeting is, or what they went through, or what they're going through. Like, people are really going through these things, man. Talk about your truth. Talk about your truth and your opinion, and leave the facts to us. Alright? Thank you for listening. I will be back with some more insight info.